trying to do a little part to make it feel a little less for a couple people. I hope that was an okay answer in what you were looking for. Sorry.
Yep, that's cool. I definitely appreciate that answer. We all grow as we get older. I don't think any of us are the same person we was 20, 30 years ago, whatever. And I know that I've grown as a person. So when I see kids being taken care of, I don't care if the parents are white and they're black or vice versa or green. I don't even care anymore. What I care about is that kid is going to be raised in an environment of love, that their needs, their physical and mental needs are taken care of so that they can grow up with a set of morals to go out into the world and make the world a better place because of what they've been taught. I think that's the most important thing. And yes, I believe everyone should have a sense of self, who they are, who their ancestors are, where they came from, so on and so forth. But the main thing is that a child feels loved. As I said, I made a quote. I recited a quote, I believe, in the first episode, and it was something to the effect of, it's an African proverb that says, the child who is not feeling loved will burn down the village to feel its warmth. And I believe that is so true. So the kids need love. Karen, I know you wanted to say something.
I do. I've seen it. I've seen people of all ethnic backgrounds adopting children of color, and it didn't matter to them when they came in, and they came in with their natural born, their children. The siblings, the older siblings, had the children were so spoiled, it was ridiculous. Like the kids were protective of the younger ones, and parents, it's hard, Amy. And talking about doing their hair, the little girl's hair, the agency that I worked for, they had a program to help the parents, the mothers, learn how to maintain African American kids' hair. And if they couldn't find anyone right away, a lot of the caseworkers would do their hair. They'd say, bring them in or take them to the hairdresser. And the love is just unbelievable to sit in a room and see the kids embrace each other and not looking at color is amazing. And I always used to say, I wish some adults would behave like this and stop judging. All they need is love, and love is a tremendous difference. I have saw children come in who were disruptive because their world had been shifted. And a couple of months later, from being in that foster home, they were totally different kids. They had so much love. They were so happy. And it made my heart sad. It was you have to learn how to turn your emotions off when you work for the agency, because you will cry a lot. Nothing is more sad than seeing an infant come from the hospital to your office to a home, not even seeing any parents, any relatives, and it's just wonderful. And the key factor is loving them unconditionally, loving them enough to fight to keep them healthy and happy. Thank you.
Amen to that. Shamara, did you have anything else to add?
Nothing else to add. When I see multiracial families like yours, Amy, I just believe that's what heaven looks like. Heaven looks like all of us. It's a melting pot, and that's what it is. And so just thank you for loving on those little ones, because they're going to need that. They're going to need to know that they are loved and they are beautiful African-American women, and they are a part of a family, that you are their family. So thank you for that. That's thank you.
So let's go back to the pandemic. I know as adults, this last 2 years, everybody's gone through something. I know I've gone through some things. I would imagine you guys have gone through some things. Last year in March, April, May, June, it was a scary time. We didn't know where this was going. Just imagine how scary it is to kids, or to want to bring kids into your household that you don't know. I think that the foster care system is going to go through this for quite a while as these different variants keep coming up, and people are going to be less and less willing to bring an outsider into their circle, not knowing full background of where this child has been. I know my wife and I recently thought about trying to foster a kid, but our reasons for not doing it is just that we've been through this. It's a cycle of life. It's not easy, and being in our 60s, it's something we just didn't want to do again. So we help in other ways. So I want to ask for any final thoughts about let's get creative for a moment. How can the foster care system alleviate some of the backlogs, some of the problems that it's having, so that the kids can get what they need as far as mental health, as far as physical health, love, understanding? Anybody?
I'll start on this.
Thanks.
The people I have dealt with in the foster care system, and it's almost classic, good people and bad people. I've worked with some wonderful individuals through DCFS and some not very wonderful individuals. There's a lot of turnover. Caseworkers come and go, or go to another agency or whatever they are doing. And when they leave, they don't have anybody to do the cases. The supervisor gets them. I've been to court, and the supervisor, who's a very good man, comes in and he's got a stack of papers this high, and he's barely just reading, okay, what's this case about? What's this case about? And then he's going to walk in the judge and talk about whatever the issues are. He's literally learning on the spot, because normally the caseworker would go in and talk about that, and then he may add a few comments on it. So he's very overburdened. And he actually told me, he said, I don't even know if I do this job, but my wife just had a kid recently and I need the money. So I said, well, bless you, sir, for doing that, because it's not an easy job what he does as a supervisor. And then constantly have to go find a qualified individual to be a caseworker. Ideally you have to have an advanced degree and all that appropriate experience. So I defend that DCFS to a certain extent because of my experience with them. So I'll just mention quickly one other thing here. When I was growing up, my closest friend was a foster child. He lived a block away from me. He was brought into a family in first grade, and after fifth grade, he was removed from that family. And one day, in summer of fifth and sixth grade, he walked up the block and told me he was leaving. And he was going back in the system after 4 years. And yes, he was treated like a second-class citizen in that household. Luckily, he went to another family. He was adopted when he was 12, 13 years old, which is not easy for a child that age to get adopted, even way back then, as well as now. And he got very lucky on that. And he was raised in that household with a nice couple, and he was an only child in that household. So he got lucky on that, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Gotcha. Any final thoughts? Karen, Amy, Shamara?
Ooh, it's that final thought.
Everybody don't speak at one time now.
I think the system works. The problem is it's a lot of rules and regulations that impact the ability for the caseworkers to get done what they need to get done, because the children do receive the services, they do get funding for those kids, and there are programs to help the parents be good foster parents, and the door is always open for between communication with communication between the foster parent and the caseworker. And your caseworker is your beginning and your end. So if you don't communicate what's going on with your house as a foster parent, how are they to know?
Mhm.
This is how things slip through the cracks. You have to have those conversations. You can't be afraid and think that you're going to be penalized as a foster parent because I don't know how to buy my kid shoes. Say it. Say it to your caseworker. They bend over backwards. I've seen it, where they will open doors that you never thought existed. They will provide the information that you never thought you would get to help you be a better foster parent. And each kid is analyzed, and they have meetings to discuss their care. And it's a group effort. It's not an individual effort. And you sit there and you tell, if you don't speak up, nothing's going to happen for you.
Karen, help me understand this better. What types of rules and regulations are you talking about that stop the caseworkers from doing their job?
Well, there are times when the caseworkers have to go through certain procedures to ensure that this kid is going to be placed at the right place. Should they go to a foster home if they're older, or should they go to a group home, which is a residential facility? Which one's going to help them better? Because when they bring the kids in, they have they know nothing about the kid. They don't know anything about their psychological or physical health. So it's a learning process, and a lot of times you have to get permissions, and sometimes getting those permissions to do what you need to do for that kid have to go through like a chain, and it's like you have to ask this person to ask the person to ask another person, and it can be between 24 48 hours before you get a response.
I definitely understand better now.
I would like to make a follow-on comment to that, because I was going to say the rules and regulations as well. I think a lot of them, if not all of them, are well intended, but get their barriers. Like I think everybody, caseworker, parent, everybody has a story of a child that clearly needed XYZ services, medical, mental. And like you said, you had to ask this person, who then had to go find permission from this person, but that person was on vacation and wasn't, and there's reasons those things are built in place. Nobody is doing it to be mean, but at the end of the day, you have a child that doesn't get services that they need for days or weeks or sometimes even months, just because of the delays that are built in. And if the system can do one thing, elect better people or put more funding or all of the above, remove those barriers to make life easier, so that at the end of the day, if a kid needs braces, they can go to the dentist and get braces. You don't have to wait 6 months for the state to finally approve the medical facility to approve the payment for braces for this poor child.
Thank you for that.
I've been involved in Zoom calls with a group of people talking about the needs of a child. And that can go anywhere from a caseworker, therapist, teacher, medical personnel, or whatever the issue is on that. And boy, it's important to get all those people together. And one of those persons is like the leader of it, and that you can get the input from all those different individuals depending on the need of the child. It's so important.
Okay, Shamara, you get the final word, if you would like it. If you would like it.
I think, oh, Shamara's there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm just taking in everything that everyone is saying. My thing goes back to education. I'm just really big on education, and I feel like the more educating that everyone receives, the better the system will be for foster children, for foster parents. So that's my final word.
Okay. And Karen, I think you wanted to get one 30-second thing in there, right?
Oh no, I didn't. I mean,
Go ahead.
You know what I did? There's a I'm sorry. There's a form. It's called a VMAT, and it's an assessment form to determine what needs the child will have. And based